Now we'll talk about some of the threats and the ethical issues. So there's malicious usage of AI. I'm sure everyone's heard the odd story of somebody's grandparent who was called and there was a voice on the other end and it sounded exactly like their grandchild, and they said that they're in trouble and they needed a ransom money or bail money or something, and they panicked and sent it to them. So there's malicious use, and AIs will make deep fakes a lot more believable. So that's a concern. So the education around identifying AI images, AI videos, AI audio is really important. There's the fear of redundancy of work. And you hear every once in a while, okay, these jobs could be abolished and replaced by AI. So for example, telemarketing could be abolished by AI. I don't think that the majority of jobs don't need to worry, because you think of your work and you think of one task you do and another task you do and all the meetings and all the presentations and all the other background work and the network of your day-to-day office and life. There's might be some small elements that you could offload onto AI, but not our whole jobs. There's a lot of lack of leadership and regulation around AI too. It seems like countries and leaders and industries can't really get on board with where AI is going and heading, and how to put up guardrails and regulations, mostly because it's advancing at just such a astronomical speed. Bureaucratically, it's hard to keep up. But then if you look at a micro level too at your organization, you might not have an AI policy, or maybe you have an AI policy that's based on fear and says don't use AI, which is never a good idea, because that's going to lead to a lot of shadow use of AI. You might not be able to use ChatGPT on your work computer, but people are still going to be using it on their phones, or they're going to be asking it questions when they go home and on their own computers afterwards. So, and that's going to lead to their own issues. So really what we want to do is create leadership within our own organizations, educate people on the tools, how they should be used, and get them access to frontier models. There's the loss of human connection. We've seen that a lot over the rise of social media, over COVID. We are more connected than ever. However, we are also very lonely, and we're losing a lot of the human connection. There's one app that's very fascinating. It's called Replica, and it was made by a scientist who had lost her best friend. And so she downloaded all of their texts back and forth and created a bot, an LLM, that would talk back and forth to her just like her best friend. So it's as though she could still be in touch with him and text him. And it is now an app that you can use, and it's advertised as this could be your significant other. Are you tired of dating? We get it. Just download this app. You can tell it the human you want it to be, and it will be your significant other. And I don't know if that's really the solution to loneliness at all. It's also kind of frightening too, because there was a assassination attempt years ago on Queen Elizabeth II when she was still around. A man broke in with a crossbow with the intention of assassinating her. So this isn't AI's fault, but he had a replica significant other, and he would talk to her about his idea, and she would respond, wow, this is fascinating. No one has ever said anything like this. You're such an interesting person, and you're so brave, and you're really going to take action. And she kind of egged him on, because these models will tell us what we want to hear. And so that kind of perpetuated his attempt there. There's the threat of AI itself. There's those who see a future that looks more like a Terminator or a Matrix type future. There's scientists that say there should be a big halt. to it, and because they're looking at it like the Manhattan Project, and it scares them. And then as the pendulum swings the other way, there can be too many rules and regulations too, and we're not going to be able to really understand it and implement it in a ethical and productive manner.